Art is a way of life, a part of society that makes everything more interesting. Many artists strive to make their art well known. Some create art for their personal reasons. Some just find it as a form of expression. But there are some artists who made more impact than others, influenced the market and society itself with their works. Hence, the Philippine government gives these artists the title of National Artists. The Order of National Artists is divided into categories. After all, art doesn't come in one form alone. It may come in different forms. Theater, architecture, dance, these are but a few of them. Movies are considered one of the major entertainment these days. They are able to bring fiction into life, or maybe retell a story in a new way. We Filipinos love our movies. It's one of our greatest pastimes. Philippine cinema brought us many great movies, and along with them, great actors and filmmakers. Many of us may know actors such as Coco Martin, Marian Rivera, and Richard Yap. But one actor stands out as one of the greatest, if not at least one of the most famous Filipino actor of all time. Known as the king of Philippine movies, he became an iconic figure for his various roles in action movies. This is none other than Ronald Allen K. Poe, who is popularly known as Fernando Poe Jr. or FPJ for short, nicknamed the King. Fernando Poe Jr. was a cultural icon of tremendous audience impact and cinema artist and craftsman. As actor, director, writer, and producer. As an icon and living legend in movie industry, he ruled the local movie scene for 5 decades until his untimely death last December 14, 2004, after running for presidency during the time. Poe dropped out of college to work in the Philippine film industry as a messenger boy and was given acting roles in subsequent years. Starting as a stuntman for Everlasting Pictures, he was given a starring role in the movie Anak ni Polaris at the age of 14. With Rosita Noble as Poe's leading lady, the movie was released in January 1955. In 1957, he starred in the movie Low Waist Gang, wherein he gained popularity. The movie was such a big hit that it started a fashion fad, low waist pants. Poe acted in a number of movies which depicted him as the champion of the poor and downtrodden. He also directed 9 movies under the pseudonym Ronaldo Reyes. Reyes originated from the surname of his paternal grandmother, Marta. He established FPJ Productions in 1961 and later organized other film companies. In 1963, he testified against criminal gangs known as the Big Four, who extorted money from the film industry. In 1965, he shared the lead in The Ravagers, a film depicting the United States and the Philippines working together against Japanese wartime occupation. The film is considered one of the most influential Filipino films of all time.
Pare-pareho lang tayo. Isang bala ka lang. Ngayon nila matitikman ang sakit na pinadanas nila sa mga sawing palad na kasama natin. At mararanasan din nila ang sakit na nadama ng loob ko ng hiruan ko mga bata. Ngayon nila matitikman ang tatak ng panday. Masusa ako kanyang mga bata-bata. Huwag ako kusog.
Marami ka pang bigas sa kakainin. Hindi ako kumakain ng bigas, Major. Sinasayin ko muna para maging kanin bago ko kainin. Ikaw, Major, palay pa lang kinakain mo na eh.
FPJ made a huge impact in the film industry of the Philippines and continues to influence our media these days.
When one thinks of the word art, one of the very first things that comes to mind are paintings and sculptures. Paintings and sculptures are the most common form of art. Many art museums have paintings, drawings, and sculptures as their main highlights. Many famous paintings we know of are the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci, The Scream by Edvard Munch, and The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. The Philippines has its own fair share of famous artists. One of them is Benedicto Cabrera, or more commonly known as Ben Cab. Benedicto Reyes Cabrera, or otherwise called to what he signs with his work, Ben Cab, is a Filipino painter granted as National Artist of the Philippines for Visual Arts in 2006. Ben Cab had built up for himself a name of universal significance, showing over the world, from London to New York to Macau, and verifiable brightness, showed in his steadfast and lastingly growing gathering of admirers, and without a doubt, in his various awards. He has been branded as arguably the best-selling painter of his generation of Filipino artists. Born on April 10, 1942 in Malabon, Ben Cab was the youngest child of Democrito Cabrera and Isabel Reyes. He had 8 siblings, and his elder brother, Salvador Cabrera, who was already an established artist during Ben Cab's childhood, was the primary factor of his exposure of the arts. He then went ahead to study at the University of the Philippines, where he explored different art forms such as photography, draftsmanship, and printmaking while sharpening his chosen craft as a painter. In 1966, Ben Cab met British writer Caroline Kennedy, whom he later wedded in London in 1969. Ben Cab moved to London to start a family. He and Caroline had 3 kids: Eleazar, now a film and web series producer; Mayumi, now a model in London and Los Angeles; and Jasmine, who now lives and works with him at the Ben Cab Museum. In spite of the fact that Ben Cab's first years as a painter in London were not especially easy, his abilities were promptly appreciated, and he went ahead to have a fruitful profession in Europe.
I grew up in Manila, and I left the Philippines in 1969 when I met my future wife, and we traveled and stayed in London for 13 years. So I came here in 1986, right before the snap election, you know, and so it was very good timing for me to be back in the Philippines and be involved in the scene.
When he went back to the Philippines from 1972 to 1974, Ben Cab was welcomed as a Filipino pioneer of the arts and a big impact among his associates. Ben Cab came back to London in 1974 to some degree to escape Marcos martial law. This noted the start of his inclusion with social analysis, the themes of suppression and independence.
The turbulence that's happening and the scaremongering, because you know, walking down the street as you normally would do, and you know, in that day and age everybody had long hair. It was the age of the Beatles, So everybody was copying them. So, you know, to be arrested on the, you know, or you have your locks cut on the side of the street as you're about to cross the road, you know, so, you know, what's going on here,
Yeah,
you know.
and a lot of kababayans that live here in America migrated during that time for
that period.
fear of their life.
Yes, I'm sure there were.
After a time of worldwide achievement and a divorce, Ben Cab returned home in 1986 and settled in Baguio. Now in his 60s, Ben Cab's imaginative virtuosity and sense for investigating expressions of the human experience has not disappeared one stroke. He can normally be found at Tamawan village in Baguio, or working out of his studio in a similar neighborhood, or unwinding on his separated ranch on Asin Road. His deep, adroit depiction of social issues, particularly those most applicable to Filipinos, is accepted by numerous to be the root of his success. By utilizing art as a means of revealing social issues, Ben Cab has painted a wide assortment of subjects, from Sabel, the rummaging madwoman, to people of Filipino history, especially the individuals who lived in and battled against Spanish occupation, the frequently dislodged and to some degree baffled 20th century Filipino transients in foreign countries who longed for greater and better things. Some of his notable works include Bulol Installation. It was the first piece he introduced in the Ben Cab Museum. Bulols are the watchmen of the Ifugao and are utilized for their ancestral ceremonies to guarantee plentiful harvests and insurance against natural catastrophes. Sabel. When he was in his room in Bambang, Santa Cruz, Manila, he saw this disheveled woman mending the road who was wearing pieces of plastic. He chose to draw her. As indicated by him, the lady who he named as Sabel is a portrayal of not only the homeless but rather of any Filipina too. Looking at the way she moved, how her clothes swayed, she could be an OFW, a vendor, a dreamer. The Oriental Fan. Ben Cab outlines models of female vagrants, the estate proprietor's daughter, her maidservant, the Chinese lady, and her fan. Aside from being a synthesis of remarkable tasteful magnificence, the Oriental Fan is a demonstration of the diverse sorts of ladies who roused and formed Filipino history.
The artists are untrained artists, and it comes from the heart.
Yeah.
And so most great art comes from either religion or from Renaissance to tribal art. It's art. I mean, it's not just used for a certain ritualistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
It tells us something about the world they lived in. No?
So it's an artifact that you don't. Some people even idolize it, but I see it as an art done by man